Iowa came in with a plan, but Nick Boyd was a cheat code. Unbelievable game from a point guard that is now in the conversation for the best in the Big Ten right now. Let's talk about it.
You are Locked On Badgers, your daily podcast on the Wisconsin Badgers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is going on, Badger fans? Welcome to Locked On Badgers, your team every single day. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, the number one sports podcast network. And thank you for helping us get there. Joined by Rajiv, joined by Justin. We are talking about Wisconsin kind of taking care of Iowa down the stretch here. And what looked like it was going to be a close game. They pull away late. Today's episode brought to you by Mazda. We put the same drive into Mazda puts the same drive into their vehicles, into every bit of detail that you see in athletes, putting into work that defines you. Stay tuned for highlights from this week's Moving the Game Forward. There's more to Mazda because there's more to you. Today's episode, your thoughts, put them in the chat, put them in the comments. We got Mike behind the mic starring comments. What went right? Some frustration today. Big picture, guys. Nick Boyd just took over. And it's wild still. He's going left. He's going left. And Iowa just could not figure out a way to contest it. 27 points, 9 rebounds, 10 assists. He was in a game where the announcers kept talking about Sturts again and again. Nick Boyd was clearly the best player on the court, guys. Unbelievable effort.
Everybody knows he's going left, but it doesn't even matter because he's too fast. You know what he's going to do, but that doesn't mean you can stop it because the dude is like, he accelerates from the 3-point line to the hoop in a matter of like a split second. It's unbelievable. Like he's a cheat code, as you said. He's absolutely incredible. And first of all, big picture here, quad 1 victory, number 5 on the season. We kind of snuck into a backdoor quad 1 win because Minnesota technically now counts because they're 73rd in the net ranking. We won't beat them on the road. So yeah, but we basically have 4 plus kind of the Minnesota one. Massive. They're 25th in the net rankings to get that win after an Ohio State game. When we were on this show, we were talking about how awful that was, how we got beat up by 20 points to come back against a very feisty Iowa team, by the way. Sturts is an incredible player. I mean, boy, what I wouldn't give to have that guy on our team. But he wasn't the best player on the floor. Nick Boyd was the best player on the floor. We had the best player on the floor. Great performance from him. Great performance from a lot of guys. We'll get into that as we get into the what went right, what went wrong. And there was some stuff wrong. I saw a comment in here, how will I defend JB? I will not defend JB today. And yeah, a great win, though. 1 for the resume, 1 for our Big Ten seeding. That's super important. And hopefully we can push on from here. 2 big road games coming up now. We got to get that done. But good win today, guys.
So we calling out the play of the day, the Nolan Winter dunk attempt?
Stop.
Oh, this is the positive section. This is why I tell you don't dunk the ball.
I'm just teasing him, man. He had a great game. But it's like, wow. So my one of my thoughts on the whole Boyd thing is, yes, we all know he's going left. But the fact that Wisconsin has enough capable other scorers on the court is the reason why him going left is so hard to stop. Because you have defenders constantly shifting to close out on other guys and trying to close lanes. And he's so fast that if he gets the ball and starts moving right away, a lot of the times those guys can't recover. So it doesn't matter how left-hand dependent he is. He's still so fast, he just goes right by. The bigger thing for him is how wide does he have to get when he goes by somebody? Because when he gets too far out to the side, that's where he tends to lose his ability to be effective. He was incredible in this game. He has been, and we've seen numerous comments on here asking where this team would be without Boyd. They would be significantly poorer. If you put him, the replacement level player in there, we're probably like 3 games over 500, something like that, probably. Like there's numerous games where he's the one that brought the energy that has gotten this team going. And quite honestly, we're not really used to that for Wisconsin. We don't really typically have that guy that's kind of got that swagger and attitude. And that's partially been the problem the last few years, I feel, where we just haven't had that guy that kind of gets everyone, brings that energy to get everyone else ramped up. And he clearly brings it. And I think that's part of the reason why you see this team be so bipolar in their play, because when he's on and he has that energy, everyone follows along with him. But if Boyd isn't able to carry everyone and everyone else is playing poorly, this team really tends to struggle because there's nobody that picks up that slack when Boyd is playing poorly and the team is kind of stuck in neutral.
I'm a sucker for the Boyd intangibles. I'll just be honest, because I think at its core, most fans, and I understand some people have made comments to me that they don't love some of it. I think most fans just want their athletes to care. They want to know their athletes give a crap. And I'm not saying you need to be that to care. There's players that are just more reserved. Nolan Winter gives a crap, and he is not fully like that. But it just Boyd just wears it on his sleeve, and I think that makes him a fan favorite. The other thing really quick with Boyd, and I hear you guys' point. Part of it is spacing. Justin brought up a good point. Part of is just the unreal quickness that he has. Rajiv brought that point up, his ability to get to the left. I'm still waiting for a team that's just going to like hard hedge him. Minnesota did it earlier in the year, and they just played up that lane, and he just ran into bodies. They said, we don't even care if we give you the entire right side. We're not going to let you go left. I am still waiting for a team to go back to that type of adjustment because I think that will throw a different look. But then the misnomer really quick with Boyd is he can go to – people act like he can't use his right. He'll cross over to the right. He'll use his right. He just gets back to the left. That's what makes it ultimately so difficult. He's not without a right hand. He just only finishes with the left.
He finishes with his left, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that the other issue with that is you have the opportunity where you can put somebody like Blackwell in the corner or Rapp in the corner, and if you're going to really overplay that side, you're potentially leaving a guy wide open that's going to just probably bang that more times than not. And that's how you counter that. Minnesota is one of those teams that they let's be honest, they're just one of those teams that just wants to muck it up. Like their talent level is not to the point where you look at them and say they can get by with playing a clean game and just out talenting a team. They have to kind of play like dirty basketball. And I don't mean that as in like they're playing like underhanded or dirty. We'll save that for Michigan State and Fears. But when it comes to it on this side, they're one of those teams that has to play that way in order to win. I don't know how many teams Wisconsin, when we get to the NCAA tournament, are used to playing that way. When you get to the better teams, because they haven't had to, they can just step on the court and out talent people. And it will be interesting to see what happens when he plays against some of the higher level teams. If they make a run, because it's really going to come down to, our team's going to play him straight up, or are they going to play off him and try to be like, well, we're more talented.
I want to just say about Boyd, like the intangibles you mentioned, Ryan, like the pumping up the crowd. We often talk about the Kohl Center as a issue with atmosphere and everything. And man, I love that stuff because every little bit of energy that you can extract out of the crowd, and again, it hits the players and it comes onto the floor, it makes a difference. We all know that. Like everyone knows that in home environments, like especially in basketball, you get on a run, like that makes such a difference. And he understands when to pump up that crowd, every time the team calls a timeout, he goes crazy, he's clapping. Like that's great. That helps him get a few more points. It helps us get a few more better defensive possessions. It helped us keep them to 13% field goal. I mean, a 3-point percentage in the second half. Like those things matter. And we don't have the greatest atmosphere. Like frankly, the Kohl Center used to be. When I was there, it was way better, but it needs to be better, and this helps it. So kudos to him for doing that stuff.
Yeah, I just love the energy he brings. We're going to take a quick break here. We're going to go back, talk about player of the game, non-Boyd division, because we've already talked about Boyd a lot, but who is the guy non-Boyd we're going to go with, give some game balls out, big picture thoughts, some frustrations from today's game as well. We're going to talk about all that, plus your starred comments next. Really quick thought on Boyd. 27 points, only three 3-pointers today. I love that from him. I think his game is better when he's primarily living in the paint. So I think that's
I agree with that. I don't want him falling in love with the 3-point line.
Yeah, I think that's where his game is best. And then the occasional 3 when it's there. Let's take a quick second for our friends of the show. We're going to come back. Who else stepped up today? Game balls, including, I think we're all a fan of hip hop. We're all rappers at this point. Let's talk about that next on Locked On Badgers. Quick second for our friends of the show. Quick second to say thank you for tuning in to Locked On Badgers. Today's episode brought to you by our great friends over at Indeed. Listen, we're all professionals. We all went professional in something besides, sports. We all left college and we did something else with our lives. Workplace chaos happened. Deadlines stack up. Inboxes overflow. And you have that one position that you haven't been able to fill to get your business moving forward, whether it's you just need the perfect receptionist, the perfect mechanic, whatever it is. Sponsored Jobs from Indeed is here to help you fill those spots. Indeed Sponsored Jobs helps you reach the people who actually fit what you're looking for from skills, experience, and location. All these things matter. Don't just hope somebody stumbles upon your job. Like, let's find the right fit for your business to push it forward. Spend less time searching, more time actually interviewing candidates who check all your boxes. Less stress, less time, more results. And you need the right person to cut through the chaos. This is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to help your job get the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. Listen, maybe it feels like the way Greg Gardis hit the portal. Maybe he's using Indeed Sponsored Jobs to find the right wings for this program. I don't know. I'm just saying he's nailing his hires. Let's all nail ours as well. Go to Indeed.com/podcast right now. Support this show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions to apply. Need to hire? This is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs.
I'm now I'm now picturing Greg Gard sitting down with like Brad Davison and like somebody else in like the 3-man interview process. Trying to go through
jobs, find the wings you need. Whether it's whatever you're doing, you can find everything there.
Tell us about a time when things didn't go exactly the way you were expecting them to, and how did you overcome it?
I'm good at that answer, actually. That's a good one I nail. Let's go game balls. Obviously, we talked about Nick Boyd. Rajiv, start with you. Who else stood out today?
Well, I'm going to let you guys take care of the other one, but I'm going to take care of Nolan Winter. Just unbelievable performance again today. 18 points off of only 11 shots, 5 rebounds, a block. And I thought what impressed me the most about him today was his defense. Like interior defense, we talk so much about rim protection. He was there, man. He made some huge plays down the stretch, especially in the second half, to corral those, to kind of prevent some of those down low shots. Didn't always finish on those plays, but man, like again, Ryan, you always talk about his efficiency, and his efficiency in the paint is unparalleled. When he gets running to the basket, when he attacks the rim like that, rim running Nolan Winter, thank you. Like, let's go with it. Like the more he does that, the more he rolls. How many times have we said roll to the damn basket? It's a thing of beauty, and he is just becoming a better and better player before our eyes. Unbelievable performance today, and I really like the intensity on the defensive end of the floor in the paint. He is beginning to own that 5 position and being able to be that rim protector for this team. And look, I know a lot of people are going to give their game all the Austin rap. Obviously, I'm with them. I'm with that too. I'll let Justin take that. But I am so impressed with what I saw from Nolan Winter today. Good to get this 3-point shot back tonight. That was nice. Like he's had a little bit of a bad run there, but the more he attacks the rim, the better he is. Keep doing that, Nolan Winter. Unbelievable performance from him.
Justin, game ball.
Yeah, it's clearly wrapped to me, in my opinion, because we badly need somebody to fill that spot. And he was highly efficient today, and he has the steps that he's taken defensively. Like he's still not like a great defender, but he's gotten to the point where you're like, he at least understands what he needs to be doing out there and is putting himself in the right positions to be effective. And that's such a huge upgrade from where we were earlier in the season, where we don't need him to be like an incredible defender. We need him to understand what his job is and to do that effectively. And just him being in the spot where he's supposed to be can be enough with his length to be disruptive enough that it potentially forces somebody to kick a ball out or move the ball along, where rather than just being able to get an easy layup or something like that. And that is such a big difference compared to early in the season when this team was really struggling to keep teams away from the rim.
Yeah, those are 2 great ones. Really quick note on each of them. Rajiv, you hit it. Great point. The rim running from Nolan Winter is special. Watch when there's a defensive rebound, if he doesn't get it, watch his first step. I just encourage you to go back there. If you watch the film, his first step is a strong push down the court every time. He consistently outruns opposing bigs. That's unique. Most bigs don't do that. They don't work hard enough. He's a dog. He works hard. And then with Rap, to your point, Justin, you brought this up as well, spacing. Well, now you're bringing 4s out of the paint because 4s can't hang out in the paint when Rap is shooting like that. So those are 2 really good ones. I just want to highlight Braden Carrington a little bit. Not a great offensive day, but defensively on Sturts, he once again to me is just the best on-ball defender we have. He gave him fits. He's also one of the only guys, and we're going to get into Blackwell in a second. Frustrating game for Blackwell. I'm sorry. I'm on the good part right now. I'm on Braden Carrington.
Hayden
Carrington
Jones.
Well, no, I was going to say Carrington fights through screens. Like he you don't have, just because a team sets a screen doesn't mean you have to get screened. There's a difference. And Braden Carrington, multiple times, Kamari McGee did it last year. Our guards for a couple years get sticky on screens. Carrington does not. Carrington will fight through it. He gave Sturts a lot of problems. And once again, I think he is defensively the best on-ball guy we have. And didn't show up in the box score today, but I think if you watch the game, you see the defensive impact that he has. So I'm going to give a shout out to Braden Carrington there.
Yeah, and Sturts was frustrated a lot in that second half. He kept trying to dish the ball off. Like he was obviously frustrated with his team. His team couldn't do what he could do. I also and Kay Clint Prom also brings it up here too. I want to give Andrew Rohde a shout because we gave Andrew Rohde some crap after the Ohio State game, and he didn't have a good game. But today he had one bad pass that he threw into Nolan Winter that was ill-advised, and that was his one turnover. Otherwise, he had 4 assists, 6 points, a couple threes. And Rohde needs to always be the guy that can have like a 4-to-1 or a 5-to-1 assist to turnover ratio, right? That's a good Rohde. When he's not making those stupid passes that turns the ball over, but yet he's finding good assists, he can do that. He's a guy that can easily get you 5 assists a night. And when he does that, that means we're getting better shots and he's seeing the floor better. So not his also numbers don't jump off the page, and he's not one of our best players, but I thought good rebound from that Ohio State game because that was rough. 4 assists, 1 turnover tonight. That's fine for Andrew Rohde.
Yeah, he was good today. Really quick on Rohde. The first play to start the game is a wing pass to Rohde and then a really nice entry pass to Winter for a layup at the rim. He had 2 nice looks in the corner. There's only one pass today that Rohde looked like he reverted back to his playground style a little bit.
Was that Winter one?
Yeah, but really nice bounce back for him. He's a glue guy. I agree with you on Rohde. I thought it was a good game for Rohde. Justin, I cut you off. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say, Hayden Jones, this is maybe a blessing in disguise for him with Janicki. I hate to see him get injured because one thing you could say about Janicki is he plays his butt off. Kid plays as hard as possible every time he sets foot on the court. We can argue about whether or not he's making smart decisions at all times. That's fine. It's okay to be critical of a kid, but you can never question his effort when he sets foot on the court. So it's really sad to see him go down and not be able to play. Hayden Jones gets an opportunity to get some reps here that are hopefully going to springboard and catapult him into next season. We saw him, that hesitation move he put on today. If that's what we're going to get from him in the future, there's a lot to be excited about with him because with his length and size and he does have a pretty good handle for a guy who's probably a legit 6'6", where he has the ability to kind of create space with just how long his frame is, where he's going to be able to do some things if that's how he's going to play on guys. And that guy just was absolutely cooked when he took that half beat and let him just go flying by and put that in. And I was like, man, if this is what we're going to get moving forward with him, I don't want to say sky's the limit, but you look at it and you're like, he could be a really, really nice player for Wisconsin down the road.
Rajiv, let's shift because the last segment we always like to get into starred comments. I think we need to talk about John Blackwell. I'll let you start with Blackwell. We'll go around the horn.
Yeah,
Thoughts?
man. Like I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I think that he looks disinterested at times. In the second half today, I thought he really just first half just wasn't there. Didn't really get engaged. I think whenever Boyd is having one of his nights, Blackwell seems to just be like, okay, well, it's not my night, so I'm just going to sit over here. No. You be as aggressive as he is because then you can be the tandem backcourt that can be one of the best backcourts in the country. But honestly, man, like, listen, I love John Blackwell. He's been our guy for a long time, and he is. We need him if we're going to be a great team. If we're going to make a tournament run, he has to be a part of it. But honestly, if you're going to play disinterested like that, and you're gonna kind of play like you don't really want to be in the game, then buddy, you can sit your ass on the bench. I'm sorry, I'm just not interested in that. And listen, we're fans. We bring the fan perspective. As a fan, I don't want to see one of my best players looking like he's disinterested just because his fellow backcourt member is having the game of his life. Join in with it, man. Like, do better. And yeah, he made a couple big shots, and he still had 13 points, which is fine, but I'm really frustrated because we could be that much more if he could give it like that all the time. You never question the effort from Nick Boyd. We've never done that. We never really questioned the effort from Nolan Winter. Like I don't want to question the effort from John Blackwell. I don't want to see this. I want him to be engaged more defensively. If you're not going to score all the points, then get engaged on the defensive side of the floor or sit down and let Hayden Jones play.
Yeah, I think the issue that I see with this is that at times it feels like he's pouting or he's just like throwing a little bit. It's not a tantrum, but like the effort level is just frustrating where it just seems like he's not fully engaged. And when you, regardless of what you think you're getting from Boyd, you have to look at this from the mindset of there is plenty of basketball to go around between the two of you that both of you can shine. There is no reason why you can't be every bit as good as him out on that court, and you're going to get your shots. So I don't understand why he's not more authoritative out on the court and trying to play and being like, we can do this together. If the two of us are playing at a high level together, we're almost unbeatable. And it frustrates me to not see that, because if he, like we've talked about him having NBA aspirations, that's what they want to see. They want to see him go out there and be like, I'm the dog on this court. I'm the one running this team. Because I think we can all look at this, and he's got his flaws, but he's more well-rounded in some ways than what Boyd is. Because we've talked about the left-hand dependence on Boyd. That is going to be figured out when it comes to the NBA level, because he's going to see different level of athletes that he's going to be dealing with, and you can't be able to just go one way. You have to have a counter to that, or you are going to be nothing more than the 12th man or a G League guy. And Blackwell had an opportunity to prove himself as a guy who's just really skilled, even though he's not necessarily the best athlete out on the court. And he's destroying that by not being like, I need to go out here and prove myself and find opportunities, especially with a team that at time is looking for that from somebody. Like we've seen multiple times this season where Wisconsin's playing and they need somebody to step up and kind of take the reins when they're floundering a little bit. And Blackwell doesn't always do it. And he is the guy that should be the leader of this team. Boyd is coming in as kind of a mercenary, and he feels like he's the one that's been the leader of this team for the most of the season. And that should not be the case. Like they can lead together, but realistically, Blackwell should be the guy that's like, I've been here for 2 years. I'm the one that you guys can follow. I know how we're going to do things here.
A lot of good stuff from both you guys. I would say really quickly on the last leadership point, it might be a little different because Boyd is a guy who's been to a Final Four. Like you bring in a point guard with Final Four experience, that guy is probably going to take some of those reins. But you're also not wrong on the Blackwell leadership part. I get frustrated, guys, and you guys both kind of hit on this, and I'm not going to belabor the point. It's just I think he's so talented and he's got so much in the tank that you can't. There's going to be nights you don't have a great rap game, and there's going to be nights you don't have a triple double from Boyd. You could have dropped this game today if other people didn't play otherworldly, and that's, you know, in a way they saved Blackwell's bacon. But you're going to need Blackwell. You can't have a first half where you don't show up. You can't. Not as the 1A on this team. That's not acceptable for somebody that's as good as he is. It's just as simple as that. We all like Boyd. I'm a big Blackwell guy. I know what he does for this team. And you will need both of them if you're going to make a deep March run. This team is not complete without Blackwell doing what he can do, which is something unique to this roster. He can play style of basketball nobody else on this roster can replicate. What we saw today wasn't good enough, period. We would be lying to you if we said anything else. There were back-to-back possessions defensively. I don't even give a crap sometimes about the offensive side. Move, stay engaged, take good shots. I thought there were times today Blackwell was standing around the perimeter watching instead of moving like everyone else was. To me, that felt disinterested. But there were back-to-back possessions defensively where he gave up straight-line drives to guys that are not as athletic as he is. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. And that's not acceptable for one of the best players on your team. It's what it is. You won. And he scored some buckets in the second half, but you got to play better if you're John Blackwell. It's as simple as that.
You know what the other negative to this is some of the things he's putting on film. We talk about NBA. These are things that follow you overseas too. And when they start looking at your film, they want the guys that are busting their butt and playing as hard as they can and showing that leadership. And some of the things you look at when you see that type of disinterest and stuff like that, you kind of are like, is this guy going to be a problem? Like, are we going to have to worry about him being totally focused if we bring him over here? And maybe he's had the level of production that they'd overlook that. But I think they'd also take a look at it necessarily and be like, okay, you know, we're striving to be in one of the higher leagues here or whatever, and say, do we want to potentially bring someone in that could be a negative for team chemistry?
I'll do really quick, and then we got to hit a break. sometimes it feels like an early offensive foul throws him off his game as well. He had that early offensive foul. It feels like that takes some of the aggressiveness out of him. He's maybe a little dependent on refs in that situation. All right, let's take a quick break. We're going to get back your comments. We got 29 starred already. We'll get more. What did you think of the game? Your players of the game, your biggest concerns. What is this team's upside as a seed? We're going to get into all that next on Locked On Badgers after an impressive win against Iowa. But first, a quick second for our friends of the show over at Mazda. Mazda moving the game forward. For those who know, it's more than just the score. It's more than what's on the screen and what goes on behind. And this is easy. Today's spotlight on a player that moved the game forward, that reminded us of what it takes to really raise the bar. It's that extra work off the court. It's Nick Boyd. Again, just a cheat code. Nick Boyd today was like Thanos. He was inevitable, except he won at the end. The Avengers didn't show up and trick him out of all the nonsense. He actually won. He was insanely good. Start to finish, locked in, giving that extra bit, that little bit of detail. And just like Nick Boyd, Mazda puts every bit of passion into every model. Highlights make the reel, but what it takes to get there is what makes it count. There's more to a Mazda because there's more to you. Today's episode also brought to you by our incredible friends over at FanDuel. If you ever wanted to go to the NBA Finals, FanDuel's got you covered live and in person. FanDuel's giving you the chance to turn that dream into a reality with the NBA sweepstakes. Here's how it works. Use your profit boost on any NBA future, and you'll automatically be entered for a shot to win an NBA Finals trip for two. That's right. Flights, tickets, experiences. And if I win, I'm going to pit these two guys on the show with me into a death match and see who wants to come with me. They're going to have to prove their worth. Otherwise, I'll find somebody from the community if they're not willing to step up. FanDuel is giving you this incredible experience, live NBA Finals. All you have to do is place that future bet, use your profit boost on an NBA future, and get entered for a chance to win your trip to the NBA Finals. Play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Let's get some questions from the chat as we always try to bring up in here. Let's keep going here. We'll start with Rajiv. Going to Badger Bournemouth, big win for the double bye in the Big Ten tournament. Where are you at on the Big Ten tournament? What do you want to get out of that? Seeding, buys, whatever.
I want to get rest, most importantly. I don't really care about the Big Ten tournament. I've said this before. It can help you a little bit in seeding. It can hurt you a little bit in seeding, but I prefer just the neutral, like win a game or two and then call it good. I don't really care about it. I care much more about the Big Ten regular season. It's fine though. Look, we've won it in the past. We've been in the finals the last 2 seasons. That's great. I'm not going to turn it down. I'm not going to turn down the opportunity to win a title of some kind, but it's not that important to me. But yes, finishing in the highest position possible in the Big Ten regular season is important. And that is what Badger Bournemouth are talking about here. Yes, it's for the tourney, but it's really about finishing in the top 4. That's a big win for us. And most importantly, we've got now 3 very winnable games back to back here at Oregon, Washington, and then home against Maryland before we finish with the crazy game at Purdue. So we got to take advantage of that. You keep your positioning up high. It's only going to help your seeding in the NCAA tournament.
Really well said. Justin from Ryan Bolt. Good thing we're deep because when someone's off, then someone else steps up. It's an interesting comment. I don't really consider us deep, but I think he's speaking in the terms of players that can step up a big offensively in a given night. Thoughts on how deep this team actually is?
Yeah, I would say we're not deep because I think we saw the couple of games that Rapp has been out, this team struggles to fill that void. There's not exactly somebody that can step in and kind of add that scoring punch. You've had times when Carrington is just capable, like he's your bench scorer, but having Rapp as an option is a huge advantage when they have him, and they don't really have anybody to fill that spot. But I do think this team, they did a great job of going to the portal and finding guys who are capable of bringing a level of production that you're hoping to see. They didn't really miss on anybody. Like, if you think about it, everybody they brought in has been a productive player on this team, and that's been huge. Because if even one of these guys wasn't capable of providing quality minutes, this team would be in a really tight spot right now. We saw when Rapp wasn't necessarily, when he was kind of a work in progress, how the team struggled a little bit. But having him be able to provide that now, and now that Carrington's getting healthier too, just how big of a problem this team can be when it's on.
Guard is a portal cheat code. I say that all the time. That dude has got that figured out. I'll take this one from Patrick. They need to put Rapp in the starting lineup. We continue to have terrible starts to the game. I am actually mostly on point with this one now. I've talked before about how it's not the biggest deal to me who finishes the game and who gets the minutes. I still think are more important. I still think that. But again, it feels like starts are a consistent issue with this team. They're down, I think, 14-6 in today's game. And I'm not the biggest proponent of you need bench points. in the aggregate, you just need points. Whether they come more from the starting group or the bench group, I don't think it matters. So I've gotten to the point where I continue to see consistent slow starts. Rapp is playing really well. And that could also be BC coming into the starting lineup. Whatever it is, I do feel like the lineup could use one of those guys in it to get earlier starts. This is kind of a bigger picture question. I'll kick it to you guys for quick answers on this one, but I've come around to this line of thinking because the slow starts seem consistent at this point.
I was more on the side of let's keep the bench points going, but I do now agree that one of the two needs to start, Rapp or Carrington. I don't think both of them need to start because it gives you some punch off the bench, but there's no reason why Rhodey and Biliauskas need to necessarily be starting at this point, so I would put one of those guys in there, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I'm not sure which one I would go with out of those two, but I do agree that I think you probably are better off. Bieliauskas, I think that he's just one of those guys that's he's growing. And Rapp is further along in his development path than where Bieliauskas is right now. The consistency there at Bieliauskas is a problem. Because, yes, he has games where he looks really good, but he's got a lot of clunkers in there that you look at it and you're like, man, you're either not ready to play at this level defensively or you're taking shots that are not necessarily in our best interest in the possession, where he tends to jack up early shots and you're like, okay, that was ill-advised. We don't need that. Carrington would probably be the guy I would choose. I wouldn't have a problem with Rapp either, but I think our best lineup from an athleticism standpoint and just from the standpoint of being able to cause problems for other teams is probably with him out there defensively.
Let's go, Rajiv. You're really good with seeding questions anyway. Kind of randomly was your next one up. But Ryan says, can we get to a 6 seed if they lose to Purdue, but they win these next 3? By the way, I'll really quickly point out, I know these are easier games. West Coast trips aren't going to be super easy. They got a lock in. But what do you think of this question, Ryan?
Yeah, it's definitely possible. And one of the reasons is because the quad one. So not only do we picked up a quad one today, we'll pick up a quad one against Washington if we beat them as well, because that's a road game. You beat the top 75 on the road, your quad one, which is why Minnesota now qualifies as a quad one victory for us. I do think we can get to the the 6 seed potentially, but you can't lose Oregon, Washington, or Maryland. You have to win them all. If you win them all, that would get us at 14 wins in the conference. 14-6 in the Big Ten is a very good record. And having then stacked up what would be 6 quad one victories, even if you lose to Purdue, if you can beat any good team in the Big Ten tournament, that'll give you another quad one victory, which I think will get you up to that 6 line. Because the one thing you can say is the quality of the Big Ten is unmatched, and it's being seeded that way. You always have these 2 groups in the Big Ten. You've got the upper line that'll get the top 4 seeds. Then you've got these other ones that always seem to get the 8 through 11 seeds. And that's we're in that bottom tier this year. Last year, we're in the upper tier because we got the early non-con wins. We didn't get those this year, so we have to make up for that with more quad one wins in conference. If we can get Washington, we get Purdue, we definitely can. But even if we don't get Purdue, yes, I think we can get to the 6 seed. That is our ceiling, though. Because of the losses we had early in the season, 6 is pretty much as high as we're going to get.
Yeah, I think you need to get that. You need to get another game in the Big Ten. You're right, in the Big Ten tournament in order to be able to jump to that. But yeah,
Justin, good friend of the show, Greg Linscomb. Thoughts on unexpected hot shooting contributors? AB, Rapp, Carrington. Who surprised you the most so far?
Well, I mean, Rapp doesn't surprise me. We talked about going into the season that his shooting form is great. Carrington, I actually thought had pretty solid form. He had kind of been inconsistent throughout his career with his shooting. But I thought he looks like he's got a good feel for his shot. Bieliauskas, he's got one of those shots, man, that you watch and you're like, when it goes in, it looks nice. But man, he's thrown rockets at that thing. And when he misses, they are not pretty misses. Like they come off. It's like watching that Sandy Lyles, Along Came Polly meme, making a rain dance. Just smashing off the backboard every time. It's like, okay, get that the flick of the wrist. Let's get a little bit of softness on that shot.
He's interesting, man. I'll take this one, then we'll wrap up the show. Mike says, unless you guys said it, we'll do last points. Obviously, we always do it. Mike says, does this team seem to throw a lot of lazy passes, or I'm used to a boat team? Yes, to both answers. It's yes to both answers. This team does throw. I wouldn't say lazy. I would say they throw riskier passes, and they aren't as fundamentally sound. But Bo's teams were incredible at those things. So Very few teams are going to match up to the standard that Bo set. Let's start there. But you're also playing a different style of ball. Greg Gard has done a really good job of becoming a little more hands-off. When you become more hands-off, you're going to have more turnovers. You're just going to have to live with that more. It's the style. You can't be a control freak and also tell your guys play fast and get up shots. Those two things don't go together. They don't. It's oil and water. So to your point, yeah, some of both. The passes are worse, but we have more possessions. We play faster, and we play a different style of ball. And Bo Ryan was a unicorn. He's a one-off. Guys, last thoughts. Justin, we'll start with you. Anything that we didn't hit on? Anything else you wanted to touch on as we wrap up the show? Again, a big Wisconsin win against a good Iowa team.
Honestly, just nice to see this team again get back up off the mat after a terrible loss to Ohio State. They needed to have a game where they responded, and I'm glad to see that we didn't come out of this one and drop down 15, but then seemed to kind of slog through it in the first half. Like, they came back, they took care of things, and they finished really strong in this game. They need to continue to do that for the remainder of the season. Like we talked about, these next 3 games, go out there and just blow these teams off the court the next 3 and be going in, cruising on all cylinders when you play Purdue.
Iowa was a team that was allowing, that was 9th in the country in scoring defense, allowing 64 points a game. We scored 84. We shot 50% from the field in the first half, 54% in the second half, 44% from 3. Like, that's really impressive against a defensive unit that's that good. So that's just a point that I really feel like needs to be made. We sometimes we struggle against really, really good defensive teams, and this offensive team is just so much more elite than we've seen in the past. The last thing I'll say is the whole ending of the game with the technical foul. And I know Iowa fans are probably a little annoyed by that. I mean, we would have been annoyed by that too. But let me tell you something. You don't need to have the shove, okay? 23 for Iowa. Like, if we've been penalized by letter of the law type stuff way too many times. So when you have that push, I recognize that was a 4-point play that basically ended the game, and Iowa wasn't going to win anyway. There was already we would have had the ball with under a minute left anyway. But I know Iowa fans are annoyed by that. There was a couple in this, and yeah, there's a comment that comes up there. I whatever it is, I'm sorry. You don't need to push. If you're complaining about that elbow, you could have called for a review there. You don't need to have that push. That's a technical foul every time. Bad move by 23 for Iowa. Sorry, it's letter of the law, but we've been penalized by that too.
I want to jump in on that one quick, Ryan.
Celsi, really quick, let me read it. It says, as an Iowa fan, that game annoyed the hell out of me. I want to see Wisconsin again on a neutral floor in the Big Ten tournament. I would just quickly insert the meme of Nick Boyd rubbing his hands together. Be careful what you wish for, Celsi, because you can't guard or point guard. Tough to win when you can't guard or point guard, buddy.
I would say on this team, Blackwell is the Davison of players, where he does all that kind of little underhanded stuff that you don't notice as much unless you're looking for it. He definitely plays like he's a running back at times, trying to stiff arm people when he's coming down the court. There was a play up in this game early in the first half where I watched it and I'm like, he pushed off there. He pushed off there. And I'm like, and I think he eventually got a foul called. And I'm like, all right, I'm not going to argue it, but I'm like, Blackwell definitely rushes up to the limit of what is acceptable for an offensive player to get away with in terms of what he does. He absolutely threw the elbow there. So I can understand the defensive player being angry, but you're right. Don't push. Look at the ref. Come at him and say, hey, come on. Keep an eye on this. Like, this is the way he's playing. And we've seen Blackwell get hit before this season when he's done it. There's been games where he's gotten called for offensive fouls for being too physical with that stuff.
Listen, composure matters. Like, if you're going to get upset about the push, get upset at your player. Composure matters. This is no different than in football when the second guy gets caught. Be tougher. Be more mentally composed. It is what it is. I'm sorry, that's on you. Last thing I'd say really quick. Oh, Brian Axis. Yeah, women's hockey clinched regular season title today. Just a dynasty. We've talked about this before. Just unbelievable program. So hats off to the ladies. I want to quickly say, for a long time this season, the Force have been the trouble spot on this team. The defensively, both Beals and Rapp being able to hold up somewhat on an island against Sturts, because Iowa's offense is a lot about isolating matchups through switches. They try to get Sturts isolated. Both of those bigs, man, and Winter as well, they held up better than expected on Sturts, and that's part of why Iowa struggled down the stretch. That's part of why Sturts was discombobulated, because the bigs played really well defensively. If they can play like that, it allows us to switch, and if we can switch, his defense is better. So to me, I don't know if we talked about Beals much. He did a pretty good job on an island, and I thought Rapp did as well. The last thing I'd say before we wrap it up, and if we have any final comments, we'll kick it around. The inconsistency of this team at times is very frustrating, and they're about to go play teams that aren't as good. And they have had a tendency to play down to opponents and play up to opponents. It's going to be very frustrating because we have seen when this team plays hard and they're engaged, they can beat anybody. It's going to be very frustrating if they don't come out with that level of intensity against teams that they should beat. So I'm going to leave it at that. Guys, if you have anything else you want to throw into my last two comments, but play hard. Just play hard and take care of business because you're better than these teams coming up.
I think really well said on the bigs. That's a really good point you brought up. It's not only just today, it's been the last few games. We've seen Rapp play better defensively, Winter play better defensively, Beals play better defensively. Like that's been really nice to see. And it's just, we're a little bit more dependable with our bigs defensively. So that's huge. And yeah, absolutely. Come on. Like we will tell you right now, we're going to come on these reaction shows. We're going to be really pissed off if we lose at Oregon or at Washington. Like you are better than these teams. Prove it.
Yeah. Handle your business. Finish this out.
On Wisconsin, guys. Go check out these two dudes on their podcast, The Bucket Report, as always. Really appreciate everybody tuning in. Please give a shout out to Mike Beyond the Mic, as always. Serving the podcast, the community, just making it better. He's very, 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 very instrumental to what we do here. And then Larry McCray had a positive update with his wife, feeling better, continuing that progress there. So that's always awesome to hear. That's more important than sports for sure. On Wisconsin, appreciate you guys so much. And we will definitely talk to all y'all tomorrow.